Hi, friends. Darla and Kevin here. We are working on this series for marriage, and we want your marriage to be healthier. So this is what we're hopefully you're finding these little tips that we're giving you with some helpful love into your marriage. So tonight we're going to talk about being intentional. And I'll tell you that Kevin is always busy. He's such a hard worker. He works, has a very good work ethic. And the other day we talked about manners and good manners. And part of being good manners is that it's hard to interrupt them when they're in the middle of something so that you can tell them your idea or tell them what you're thinking about. And I have lots of ideas, so let me tell you, it could happen all day long. So instead, I've learned that he doesn't really care to be interrupted when he's really in work mode. And so I will I'll ask him, I'll say, hey, I need to talk to you later. Let me know when you have a break. Or, when would you, hey, we got to talk about something, whatever, So I just give him permission to work it into his day also. So that's one thing of being helpful manners. But I'll tell you, when he is involved in something and I just forget that and I come in and I'm like, hey, honey, I will tell you, he will put down what he's doing and he turns to me just like that, like he has the whole rest of the day to listen to me. And he could be also thinking that he has 10 more things that are way more pressing than listening to me, but he doesn't. And I never know that. And he just looks at me with his loving eyes and he smiles and he helps me and he takes care of it. And then and sometimes he'll pat my hand and say, okay, I need to finish up a few things here and then I'll be able to do that for you. And so he uses his manners of that too, but he actually really does stop. He doesn't just keep working and go, yeah, I'll do it later. That's not being intentional. Does that make sense? He really does stop and look at me. And so it's noticeable. And I don't know where he learned it, but he learned it. So you guys should learn it because it's important, both ways,
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because she is the most important person in this whole world to me. I picked her to be my wife. She was the one, just the one. Out of everybody else, I picked Darla to be my wife. And that's how important she is. And that's why I stop and I try and listen to her when she has something to tell me. Because whatever else I'm doing is not that important. So when we go out to eat, which is not as often as it used to be, but when we sit down to eat here at home, I try to put away my cell phone and not be answering as it's buzzing and going off. I try to enjoy a nice dinner with Darla and enjoy a nice meal and not be hampered by the interruptions that it can bring. So that's something else that I try to do, to be intentional and listen and have some conversation, because that's an important part of our day when, yes, we're eating, but we're also communicating. It's a relaxing time and we're able to communicate during that time too, because we're involved with each other.
So we're busy and we plan, but then when we think about the future and we plan for things, but when we're right now in the present moment, what else is there, right? That's the most precious. So be there, be present for your spouse and your loved ones. That's what being intentional is. And
Right.
I told you that he works super hard and I work pretty hard, and we both have a really busy day. And I called him to tell him I was coming home late, and I said, I'm so sorry, I'm just now leaving work. And it was when I should probably almost be getting home. And he said, it's okay. And I said, wait, where are you? Because I could tell he's like, I'm parking the car. And he was out getting us some dinner because we're both just crazy busy right now. And so he made that an intentional part of his day, that he planned ahead of time to go get dinner for us because he knew it was one of my late nights. And I just thought it was just so lovely, you know? So that's like one more thing off my list. And he didn't have to do that, but he sure did. So thanks, honey.
So, as we've talked about the 5 love languages this week, and hopefully you have gone and gotten the book or you started reading online about it and you've watched these broadcasts, hopefully you're realizing that when you find whichever love language it is that your spouse needs to hear from you or to feel from you in order to feel loved, be intentional about using it and make sure every day you're using that love language to express how much you love them.
Being intentional is just being in tune. So dial in, be in tune.
That's right.
We love you guys.
Everyone, have a good evening.
Good night.